It's so great to meet you, Bebe. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you? You look fabulous.
Thank you. You too. I'm trying to match you with your
Thank you.
tie.
I've got a little pink going on.
Hi, I'm Kristen Maldonado from Pop Culture Planet. It's so great to meet you both. I just got to say congratulations. This was my most
Oh,
anticipated film of 2024, and I loved it so much.
Oh, I'm
oh,
so happy to hear
thank you.
that. Good.
Oh
We,
my
we,
God.
because you were a fan, probably, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. I'm a musical theater
Yeah.
lover. I'm a Mean Girls stan. So, oh my gosh, it was just
Uh,
beautiful the way that you guys put this together. So, I mean, I got to start out with, I mean, this is your feature directorial debut. That's like huge. And you guys work together so beautifully. So, how do you kind of balance, two people kind of bringing this vision to life? And like, what was it like for this to be, the feature debut?
Art and I have been working together for about
10
10,
years.
10 years now, as long as we've
Been
been
together.
together.
We
So
only know how to work with each other.
yeah. So I mean, we of course have a shorthand and we know each other's strengths. I mean, it was really fun to be able to have, someone you love and trust to be able to bounce ideas off of and create new ideas with. And I mean, we knew it was a tight schedule. We had to be very prepared. So we just began by just the two of us really figuring out exactly what we wanted to do, very like large scale and granularly.
Put together like we put together a 200-page document um called Camp Fetch.
Yeah, Camp Fetch.
Where it like talked about how like literally like how the camera was gonna move and how like what like shot almost like shot for shot, and then we shot it with then we shot it on an iPhone.
Mhm.
And just like shot the basic we had somewhere there exists the whole movie on an iPhone with like Sam playing like most of the parts.
Art played with Karen many
I
times,
played Karen a lot.
which is very entertaining. Yeah.
Yeah, and like our assistants would come and they would like um and our cinematographer and everybody like our first AD, like they were all like it's all like he was Katie a lot.
You
Yeah,
guys filmed two movies.
he's like this
Boston.
stocky Boston guy, and he would just like play Katie
It
and
was
be a
awesome.
good sport. So it was a lot of fun figuring it out together.
I had heard that Tina Fey was the one that reached out to you about this role, and I wanted to know, how did that feel?
It felt incredible. I was so overwhelmed and excited that she would take the time to reach out to me in that way because she's a very busy lady and and yeah, it meant a lot that she had thought of me for the role of Katie.
And I'd love to hear a little bit more about, I mean, like, you have the original musical, you have the original film, and you're also putting your own spin on things. So I guess, how did you pick and choose which things to take from each? Was there anything where you were like, oh, we have to put this in, or like, oh, I'm sad we couldn't put it in, but that was a great moment, or like, I love this new thing we put in its place?
So
All of
hard.
those things.
So yeah.
It was just a lot of conversations and collaboration with Tina, and I'm such a diehard fan of the original. We're fans of the original and of the Broadway show.
Yeah.
So as a fan, I knew what I would really miss if it wasn't in there and what I really wanted to see. So we tried to incorporate all the iconic moments and lines that people know and love. But I mean, this is a brand new cast. They bring themselves to it. This is like a brand new iteration of it. It's set in modern day with social media. It's bound to be new, with music. So
And then we just tried to like make sure that we kept it surprising.
Mhm.
Like we like that was the Goliath in front of us. It's like, well, how do we strike that balance and then make sure that like it's its own thing.
You guys did that. Absolutely. I was like, wait, what happens next? Like,
Okay, go.
I was like surprised by so many things that happened, and also so many like fun moments where you guys were able to kind of like expand on things. Like the scene with Mr. Duvall and Miss Norbury, where we get to kind of learn more background on their relationship.
Yeah.
That was so cool. Was that something that you guys were like, oh, that would be just like a fun little nod?
That was
Tina.
all Tina. And when she showed us the pages on that, I literally screamed.
It's true.
I was so happy.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but this is your first like feature musical. correct?
Correct. Yes.
So how did that feel kind of coming in and, kind of adding the musical element and also, getting to do some original new songs for this?
It was very intimidating to begin with because it was my first movie musical, and I had sung before in other movies, but never to this extent. So yeah, I was nervous, but I just sort of went in like doing a lot of vocal lessons, like really preparing, making sure that I felt ready so that when I got there on the day, I knew I would still have nerves, but like that I would be able to like just let that go.
It was incredible to come into a project like this. I grew up with Mean Girls. It's important to me on like a personal level. I think it's so relevant, like pop culturally, I mean, it's such an honor to be a part of this.
The way you guys tackle the musical numbers, I think, was my favorite part of just like it felt like we were going inside each character's brain. And I'd love to hear like how you chose what songs to keep in. Did you have a favorite musical number to bring to life?
I mean, thank you for noting like that was the goal. That was the goal, like to make sure that we're like we feel like we're like walking in their shoes and therefore can understand it a little bit more because we feel it. So thank you for like noticing that or saying that.
It was a process. I mean, there are so many amazing songs from the Broadway show, of course, and we wish we could have kept all of them.
There are some tears that were shed. Like it was tough to pick which ones are going.
It was hard to let some go.
But it has to be like it's a movie and like
yeah, it can't be
too long.
It can't be too long, especially, with a young audience. It's like you have to keep things moving and you have to just choose the right musical sequences that are pertinent to the narrative and the story. So and also the music team did a beautiful job kind of like updating the palette of the songs to be a more like pop palette. So songs that lended themselves to that as well. One of my favorite ones, Sexy was just so much fun.
Yeah.
I mean, it exists, in the virtual world on first and then in that party. And I mean, Avantika just, she nails it. I mean, from her first audition, we were just absolutely obsessed with her. So she really made that shine. And it was just fun to figure out too.
For me, my favorite musical number is I'd Rather Be Me. That I want. Yeah.
Yes.
That was like so essential, Arturo Perez.
Yeah, that like we wanted it to, because Janice is like raw, right? Like she's so raw. Like she's like, this is my song. Like, roll the effing camera.
Yes.
Don't you cut. Don't you dare cut, And it's like, let's go, So for that one, and I don't know, World Burn and Revenge Party, I think is like the one that was like, it's like that was the funnest too. Like now
it was so
I don't know, who knows? Like,
I mean, that hallway, like creating that hallway within the school was so much fun, and we loved it so much that like on people's breaks, people would just be like eating lunch in the grass there and enjoying the space. And we were so sad to take it down because we felt like we had created this like really dreamy little environment. We're like, we're keeping it, right? Oh no.
Forever.
Did you have a favorite scene to film?
I think one of my favorites was the Winter Talent Show dance, which is when all the girls perform that great dance in their sparkly Santa outfits. I loved that one because it was our first week of filming, so we were all still getting to know each other, and that was definitely a good bonding experience to all be wearing kind of itchy sequins and big boots.
Favorite scene? I mean, the Winter Talent Show is so iconic. You Can't Sit With Us, like that whole scene is so iconic. I was really excited to shoot Gretchen's musical number, What's Wrong With Me. That was a really special moment for me.
I also love the little like shout out to your Latino roots.
Yeah.
Maybe some people might not necessarily know that about you, but I think that's so exciting that you embrace that and want to show that in, a feature film like this.
I was really, really excited by that prospect. I've never been able to play Cuban American before. I'm obviously very white, and I think, I don't think Hollywood necessarily knows that like Caribbean people and Latino people in general like come in all different like shades and hair colors and whatever, you know what I mean? It's cool like as time passes, like Encanto, I think has like such like representation and stuff, I think on that like sort of spectrum. So it's cool that more and more I'm seeing that. But yeah, I wanted to incorporate something, and our directors were like totally open to that. And so it felt natural to just say abuelito instead of grandfather, you know? So it was really cool.
What was it like working with Lindsay Lohan in that epic cameo and, kind of getting that cosign from her?
It was amazing to work with Lindsay. I mean, she is such a professional. She is so experienced and just so kind as well. Like, so kind that she took the time to be there, that she cares about this character and this story so much. And it meant so much to me that I got to meet her, because that's such a rare experience.
What was it like directing that?
It was an out of body experience because I love her so much. She was unbelievably kind and giving, and just an absolute joy to work with, and incredibly sweet with the cast.
Yeah.
It was a dream. Even like offering her suggestions was a dream, and her listening to us and our suggestions was a dream. It was all just like I did feel like I had
Dreamy.
I had to pinch myself.
Yeah. And now you also got the original Broadway Gretchen on set with Ashley Park. Did you get to talk with her at all? Like, hear her insight at all into bringing this role to life?
It's actually so funny. I haven't met her. Even though like she was literally there, it was like my one day off just happened to coincide with the day that she was there. So like everyone I know is good friends with her. So I'm like trying to make it happen. I'm like, I need to talk to her because I'm still the only person that hasn't met her. I feel like, yeah, it just needs to happen. So I'd love to meet her.
Oh my goodness, that's too funny. We gotta make that happen.
Yes,
And
definitely.
something else I noticed in this film is, Gretchen has a relationship going on with Jason, but at the end of the film, I don't know, I noticed some dancing with Kevin G. And I don't know, maybe a mathlete might treat a plastic better than than Jason. What do you think about the two of them?
I think they're meant for each other. I think that is the trajectory. I think we wanted to like throw something fun in there, and I'm happy you caught that, because yeah, in my head they definitely like end up getting married or something.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Now that you've gotten this musical under your belt, I mean, what would you say about like heading to Broadway? Like, do you have a dream role that you would love to play?
My dream Broadway role is not one I could ever play. My dream role is Javert in Les Mis. That's I think one of the best musical theater roles anyone could ever play. I love all of his songs so much. So but I don't think that's in the cards for me. But but I loved doing this, and I love singing. So any opportunity I have to sing, I will take it.
If you could sing anything else in the Mean Girls soundtrack, what would you want to sing?
I would want to sing probably Apex Predator. I love that song so much. Yeah, I love it. It's so fun. It's so poppy. I love how it like takes us through the story and the dynamics of high school, and it's placed really well as well, I feel like, in the story, and also like musically, like it's in a really good like mid-range that feels like exciting but also still very grounded. So that would be fun to sing.
I was a big fan of Love Victor and your character Lake. Do you think like that she would fit into the world of Mean Girls? Like what do you think would be her like place if you were to combine Love Victor and Mean Girls?
Well, first of all, thank you. Love Victor was such a fun project. I actually think that Lake would probably do really, really well in the world of Mean Girls, and probably do really, really well within the plastics, but like Lake from season one. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like Lake has such a huge sort of like arc and changes a lot. And I think when she was more worried about like, what people thought of her and more worried about like her social standings, like obviously that feels very plastic. So I think, yeah, like Lake maybe season one, I think she'd probably do well within the plastics.
Now I'm curious, because you've played these like mean girls with levels so well. Like, how do you relate to Gretchen yourself?
It's a good question. I think like when I first got the part and was like approaching the script, it was actually a little challenging for me to kind of really understand her headspace, only because I didn't have a traditional high school experience. And obviously, like, these social dynamics exist everywhere, not just in high school. They exist in life and at work and whatever. But I think the high school experience really is so specific. And her relationship with Regina is so specific. I think what was really helpful for me to truly understand her was having What's Wrong with Me and the lyrics to that, because that's kind of like her inner monologue constantly. So in my head, like, all of these things that she's saying and she's exploring through that song, which is so vulnerable and kind of like heartbreaking, is kind of like her inner dialogue underneath everything. Like, in every scene, that's kind of what she's thinking about. It's like, why am I not this, that, whatever, that was really, really helpful.
Just this whole project, I think you guys put together so beautifully. I also got to give a shout out to the ensemble, because I feel like the North Shore High students, like, they felt like a character as well. And I loved it so much. And then, just to wrap things up, did you have like a favorite or just even more challenging part of bringing this project to life, or maybe something people might be surprised to learn about?
I want to give a shout out to the dancers and to and to the band freaks, and like they brought it.
Yeah,
like
the choir
girls,
the kind of like Greek chorus that brought us through everything.
Yeah, like in the original, the they get to talk like a lot in like in the original, and we're like, okay, so that was how they did it in like, this kind of like when Harry Met Sally kind of moments in the original. And we were like, well, how can we like raise up the ensemble? And then like, we brought in some of the world's best dancers, and they just killed it, and they're amazing and stars in their own right. So I just want to say shout out to them.
Yeah. I think what people will hopefully find, I mean, there's hopefully a lot of things to enjoy, but our actors just really embodied the roles so personally, and they really put their own twist on them. Nobody was trying to replicate anything, and everyone just came to set so positive with so many ideas. So I think it'll hopefully, I know that their performances will resonate, and they just did such a beautiful job with it.
Well, thank you so much for your time. I love this movie. You guys are killing it. So congratulations. And I followed your career for a long time, so just a big fan of yours.
Yeah, oh, well, I've just been staring at all the books on your bookshelf. Like, there are so many favorites here. I loved The Diviners. I loved Illuminae. Obviously, there's some Harry Potter there, which I also love. I've yet to try Riley Sager, but he's next on my list.
Oh, his books are so good. Every single one of them. I've like read them all. And The Diviners, I feel like no one talks about that one. It's very, very good.
No one talks about The Diviners. That would make a really great movie. I want to see it.
We should make that happen.
Okay.
Well, thank you so much for your time, and congratulations.
Thanks so much.
Consider subscribing if you like my videos, and if you want to talk more TV and movies with me outside of the comments section, check out my Patreon at patreon.com/kmaldo. If you like this one, you can check out more of my videos right over here. See ya!